Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Shadowrun Hong Kong. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you chose to join me today as I take a nap, and I'm thinking that maybe this episode we're gonna go around and speak with our fellow Shadowrunners and try to outfit ourselves for our next couple of missions. Anyway, you awaken from a blank, featureless sleep. Well, this time we didn't dream. That's good. Sweat-soaked and starving, you feel uneasy, but you can't say why. Groggily, you heave yourself out of your bed. And that is that. I'm starving, apparently. Well, I haven't eaten anything in a while. So, can I speak with you, Duncan? Do you have anything new to say to me? You enter to find Wu standing, stalking the floor silently, one hand held rigidly near his hip, the other flexing and unflexing again and again. When he notices you, he nods once and goes back to his caged panther routine. Well, you're gonna wear a hole in the floor that way. Need something? Yeah, a drink. Looks like you could use one too. I hear Club 88 has 2 for 1s between 4 and 6 o'clock, but you'll have to drink them both. I don't put drugs or alcohol in my body. Whoa, really? So, anymore you mean? You don't put crap into your body anymore. That's right, I'll own that, anymore. I don't need my judgment impaired like that anymore. We both know what can happen when I drink. Been thinking about Josephine Tsang. What she did to our family. What she did to Carter. Josephine Tsang, goddamn Josephine Tsang. She's our grandmother, apparently. No, she's his grandmother. And mine, well, my foster grandmother, I think. And how I'm going to make her pay for it. All that thinking and basing, that's what you came up with. Huh. That you're gonna make her pay for it. I was thinking of all the ways I could make her pay. Well, don't go down a dark hole, boy. It's not a dark hole. I'm just adapting to the situation. The old Duncan is coming out to play. Here's what we do. We walk into Tsang headquarters and ask for the boss. When she comes down, we grab her, take her somewhere quiet, and ask her why she had Carter and those runners killed. Find out what happened to Raymond, whether he's alive or dead. What happens next is up to her. So you mean kidnap a member of the Hong Kong Executive Council while there's an APB out on us? Really? It's bold. They'll never see it coming. This is the way to go, my way. Your way? Well, he has a... I think he might have a point there. The thing is, so basically he's saying that, yeah, they'll never see us coming. Well, the police probably know what's... maybe the police doesn't know that Tsang is involved in all of this. Anyway, now where have I heard that before? What? My way? That's right. There's one way this is gonna go. He catches himself understanding appears in his eyes. Oh crap. That's what Ray used to say. Raymond Black, our benevolent dictator. No questioning his rules, no falling short of his expectations. It was his way, or the wrong way. Yeah, that's true. But your way doesn't seem very much better, does it? Raymond could be pretty harsh when we didn't live up to his standards. Oh man, do you think? You remember what happened a few years after we moved out of the squat and into his house? The thing with Double Tray and Lockjaw when he accused us of relapsing back into our old ways? Oh man, that was when Ray's authority finally got tested. And when I finally stood up to him. You stood up to him? Really? Well, I couldn't hear a word you were saying. I'd never seen him so angry. It was a sight to behold, that's for sure. I didn't listen, he didn't listen. Then we butted heads, same as always. But that one was the worst. Good thing you were there to stop it. Okay, Mr. Silver Eyes, we don't need to do things my way. No need for us to butt heads. And on that note, I'm gonna have to ask you to clear out. It's been another long day. Yeah, well, I'm getting the feeling that they're all gonna be long days. Yeah, I'm getting that feeling too. Anyway, have a good night, Kalim. I'll catch you tomorrow. Well, I already slept. But, you know, I get the feeling that in between missions, in between every single mission, you can come back and speak with your teammates. But I'm not doing that because the game is very heavy on dialogue. And even though I enjoy it very, very much, I want to I want to kind of balance it a little bit, but I guess we've been going on a little bit of a streak for mission-dependent episodes, so I guess this episode is going to be a little bit on the shield down. Let's speak with Isabel and see what she has to say since last time we were here. Isabel is jacked into the octopus. Her body sits inert, her breathing shallow. As you approach, an image blossoms onto the largest of the octopus view screens. Hello down there! It's good to see you again. She smiles down on you from the monitor, her outline scintillating with blue-white light. She looks peaceful, at ease. Well, nice avatar. That's a good look on you. Isn't it? I've spent months customizing this avatar. She feels more real to me than my own skin. Well, you really feel at home in the Matrix, don't you? You look happy in there. I suppose that I am. It's a comfort thing. As long as I'm Jack Dean, I can be whoever I want to be. Whatever I want to be. Out there in mid-space, I usually feel uncomfortable in my own skin. Well, I'd probably just live in here if I could. Yeah, that's... I heard about deckers who've tried it. It never turned out well. Dehydration is a bad way to go. I know, and of course I was joking. But truth be told, I do spend most of my time out there, wishing that I were back in here. Huh. You're a decker. You must know what I'm talking about. The freedom of it. I'm a decker? I'm not really a decker. I mean, I have the skill, but I'm not really a decker. It's hard to live in a cage of meat when you know how sweet it feels to leave your body behind. Yeah, it must be awesome. It really must be. She pauses for a moment considering, then her avatar shimmers forward, filling the screen. A slight frown crosses her face. You know, Sil, I've been thinking about the question you asked me a little while back. The one about the walled city? The one that I dodged. Yeah, I remember. Look, I wasn't trying to cheat you out of your answer, and I want you to know that. It's just that talking about the walled city is problematic for me. I understand. I grew up in the Barrens. I know how hard it can be to talk about this stuff. No, it's not that. I'm not explaining myself correctly. It isn't that I'm tortured by bad memories or anything like that. The problem is that I can't remember my childhood. The walled city, that entire chapter of my life is nothing but a blur to me. I can give you general information about life and on the inside, but the specifics of my own experience are gone. Gone? What do you mean gone? Do you have amnesia or something? Something like that. There were a variety of factors in play. The upshot of all this is that there are things that I can tell you about, but only a few and only in bold strokes. Don't expect any personal stories. I couldn't share them even if I wanted to. So if that's okay with you, if you'll be satisfied with trivia and urban legends, then we can talk. Just say the word. Otherwise, well, at least now you know why. Well, yeah, I kind of want to comfort her because that must be... but then again, how did you lose your childhood memories? I'd rather not go into it, it's personal. Suffice it to say that I've never missed them. At least, not until now. Well, if you ever talk about it, well, if you ever want to talk about it, I'm a good listener. Great, I'll keep that in mind. So, what can you, give me your, let's see. So, what thoughts about that last run? Nope, sorry. Jacking into the octopus is how I relax after a long day of work. Some people go to sports, bars, or strip clubs. I do this. As a rule, I don't spoil my leisure time with shop talk. Hey, if that's the way you feel, it's so, and it is. So if you wouldn't mind changing the subject, yeah, I gotta go, Isabel. See you later. You want to talk about anything? I don't really take offense. Sure, drop any time. Well, let's speak with Gobat and see what she has to say. Hi, Gobat. Had fun last mission? Probably not. Gobat looks up from the dented tin of oysters at the sound of your approach. Her rats, madness, and folly scurry from her hips up to her shoulders. Two sets of beady eyes fix themselves on you. Hey, Sil, oyster? She spears a gray lump of seafood with a fingernail, extends it to you. It smells like low tide at the municipal pier. Sure, why not? I'm starving after all. You pop the rubbery water flash into her mouth and chew. An explosion of lukewarm brine is your reward. Good, right? All repressed memories of dumpster diving in the Barrens dance a merry jig in your brain as the mangled oyster slides down your throat. Well, I've eaten worse. Exactly right. This girl is awesome. I love her so much. I really like her character, man. Oh, it may not be fine dining, but it's seafood, and it isn't made of soy. That makes it good in my book. She tilts back the tin, drains the remaining juice, and then flicks it into the overflowing bin at her side. So, what can I do for you? What? Wait, what? Did she just throw the rest away? I don't think so anyway. So, how do you like life here at the Bolt Hole? It's fine. Shaping up. Having new roomies is always nice. How are you enjoying your cabin? Comfy enough for you? Well, it isn't half bad. Better than some places I squatted in back in the Barrens. Yeah, I've heard stories about the Raymond Barrens. Sounds like a real winner of a place. Kowloon isn't any better, of course, but at least our little slice of home is safe. Yeah, that's true. It's handy having a mob boss on our side. Yeah, handy. Auntie Chang is definitely that. Don't know if I'd say that she's on our side, though. Why? She's helping us. Of course, I know why. I know why she means that. Look, let's change the subject, if you don't mind. I'd rather not think about old woman right now. Yeah, well... Actually, yeah, let's speak... Oh, you know, the Bolt Hole is a pretty mediocre name for a ship. Ever considered changing it? Yeah, sure. Considered it a bunch of times. Never really cared enough to actually do it, though. Wanna call her something else? I'm open to it. Yeah, let's call it something else. The Kraken. Yeah, that would be nice. Big Texas? Why? What does that even mean? Is Texas the largest state in America? I'm pretty sure it is. Maybe not, though. Isn't that California? No, Oregon? I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. I think it is Texas, though. Defiance is cool. Defiance is cool. It kind of stands a little bit for my Seal's personality as a Shadowrunner. But then again, revenge also feels appropriate. That's true. Dowager Empress. Dowager, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. Dowager. Isn't that like the Empress that gives the gift to her husband or something? I don't know. Kraken. Yeah, let's call it Defiance. Let's go with that. Yeah, I want a strong name. How about Defiance? Hi, Captain. The Defiance it is. Yeah, that's really not bad. I think that the others will be happy with it. Yeah, well, you said you'd teach me how to be a better Shadowrunner. I mean, to collect. Still remember that, do you? I just sort of assumed that you'd laugh that off. I don't know which one of these. This one is probably not good with either my character or hers. I mean, it's probably all good, all cool, but let's see. This one, let's see. No dice. You offered, now pay up. This is being a little bit more pushy, and this is being a little bit more emotional. I'm not sure. Let's go with pushy. No dice, wizened mentor. You offered, now pay up. Okay. So how about this? I'll tell you a story about a run gotten bad. You tell me what you've done. You'd have done. What? That's a lot of apostrophes right there. You'd have done in the runner's place, and then we'll compare notes on your answer. How does that sound? Well, works for me, I guess. She sweeps a tangled rope of hair out of her eyes and back over one pointy ear. After a moment of silent contemplation, she bites her lip and nods. Okay, so this is a story from early in my career. I was part of a team here in HK, but I did some occasional moonlighting for another group based out of Macau. I was a busy kid. Early career, huh? So you were, what, like 12 years old? You say that like I couldn't have been. When I was 12, I could have destroyed you. And also, I was 16, practically an adult in orc years. We grow up fast. That's because you're tall. Anyway, the job was a hit on this tower, sort of a treed multi-complex / apartment complex. I'm sure that they've got them in Seattle too, you know, the kind. 7 huge screens, monster concession stand, coffin apartments on top like barnacles on a whale. Well, I used to go to one back in Seattle. Best way to watch urban brawl. Yeah, good. You know what I'm talking about then. Our client wanted us to break into one of the apartments. The story was that the next of hers, a guy named Boggs, lived there. She'd been cooked up with him until about a week prior. Then things went sour in a big way. She wanted us to get back some things that Boggs kept when he kicked her out, scare the shit out of him, bloody him up a bit, make it look like a robbery. You know the drill. Well, yeah, I guess it's a standard smash and grab then. Yeah, it was a pretty big, brushly gig, but the pay was decent enough, not the sort of thing you'd turn down, you know. So anyway, Sibilance, that was our group leader, had a plan. We knew that we had to go in quiet because the Metroplex was had a panic system wired directly to the HKPF. If we'd gone in shooting, we'd been drowning in cops within 10 minutes. Steve thought that we could maybe take advantage of the apartment's terrible soundproofing and kick in Bog's door when the movie got loud. We'd camp out near his doorway, wait for the ceiling to start raining plaster, then smash our way in with his neighbors none the wiser. Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm not sure that's how I would have done, but that doesn't sound like a bad plan. I mean, that doesn't sound like a bad plan. Well, it had the virtue of being simple, I'll give it that. But still, that didn't stop things from going the way that they did. So we waited in the hall, just like Sibilance planned. We had a guy on the elevator, not at the stairs. I was waiting by the floor's communal kitchen. Sib took up a position by the door. She had these cyber legs that she dumped a ton of Duyan into. Hydraulic jacks, strength enhancements, the works. Girl could probably leg press a dump truck. Come to think of it, most of our plans involved kicking things. That's something a little sad about that. Focus, Comet, really. Right, the story, right, okay. So we heard this girl. Man. So we heard a boom from downstairs. Felt the walls shake with the reverb. Sib wheeled back and gave the door a massive kick. Just as she'd planned, right? From where I was standing, I couldn't really see what happened next. I could hear a massive crack as her boot slammed into the Duraplast. The door flew off its hinges, exploded off might be a more accurate phrase. A second later, we heard an ungodly crash. There was a moment of silence, then Sib let out this little gasp. The apartment was in shambles. It looked like a hurricane had hit it. Everything was trashed. Everything but the door, which was miraculously still in one piece. Remember that this was a coffin apartment? It wasn't much wider than the door was to begin with. And Boggs, well, what was left of him was under the door too. What? So the door exploded? Oh no. Yeah, it wasn't good. Boggs was dead, and the stuff we'd been sent there to recover had been smashed to bits. And then the building alarm went off. Perfect. So that's the situation. Our payday is smashed. My temporary teammates are all standing around with stupid looks on their faces. The cops are coming. I'm standing by the kitchen. Yeah, what would you have done in my place? In your place? Well, I don't know. Hindsight is always 20/20, so I don't know. Let's see. Your group was in trouble. I'd have... okay. So basically, that makes sense. So she's telling me what my action would be at that precise moment. Everything is broken, and the leader is gone, and the group was in trouble. Yeah, that is true. And there's no point going in there. Damage control would be cool. Let's see. Sibilance created this situation. We weren't even part of the team. Nah, that's not how I would have done it. Try to improvise. Was there anything in the kitchen you could use to solve the situation? Yeah, that's kind of, yeah. That's usually how I go about my missions as well. Yeah, I tried to improvise. Good thinking! As it happens, there was, and I knew just what to do with it. The thought popped into my head, and I just went with it. That's a lesson to remember, Seal. The first answer that comes up with the first answer that you come up with is almost always the best one you're gonna have. Just roll with it. Don't second guess yourself. Don't hesitate. Just act. You'll live longer that way. Sometimes. Other times not so much. Now, when I think crowded theater, I think place where you can't shout fire because it'll cause a panic. And then I thought, cops don't charge into burning buildings, they help people get out of them. And as it happens, I had the means to create real, genuine fire sitting right across from me. A pair of industrial ovens. Yeah, so you set the fire to the building. Yeah, I encouraged it to burn, opened the gas vents wide, set the range on the timer, and motored back into the hallway. The others had started arguing amongst themselves. I told them to snap out of it and follow me down into the lobby. We had to clear the hallway before an errant spark took the wall floor out. Unfortunately, the rest of the group wouldn't listen. Sib and the rest of the team were too busy arguing about the relative merits of her let's kick things really hard and see what happens tactical system to want anything to do with me. I shouted back to them that the kitchen was going to explode and continued down the hallway. Just like I'd planned, I got out of that run in one piece. So did every single one of the people that in that multiplex. My fire plan worked beautifully. If the rest of the team had listened to me, they might have gotten out of the building too. Kind of a bummer that they didn't, but at least the run turned out well for me. Huh. Your team burned to death! Look, they screwed themselves over when Sib kicked in that door. They weren't in a heap of trouble, and what I did would have gotten them out of it if they had listened to me. Know how I know? Because it got me out. They could have followed me, but instead they chose to argue until they exploded. That's on them, not me. Well, that's true. But it didn't go well for you, Gobet. Well, of course, I couldn't collect any pay because the run had been a disaster. But after the explosions, after the explosion, I got to ride in the front of the fire truck, and they gave me cookies and a blanket. I wound up dating one of those firemen a few weeks later. All things considered, it could have gone a lot worse. Well, that's true. For a little girl, you rode the fire truck, so that's all cool. Anyway, so Sil, tell me, what was the moral of the story? What lesson was I trying to convey? Okay, there's two lessons right there. Oh, actually... Oh, that's interesting. She told me the moral of the story, that it was... The very first idea is often the best, you just need to act. But it didn't work for her leader. Didn't quite work there. Nah, this is not the one. This is definitely not the one. At least she might think so, but fire solves all problems. Yeah. Yeah, this is the real point. Yep, don't go on Shadowruns with idiots. Ah, funny guy. While that is a lesson, maybe even a valuable one, it isn't what I was trying to convey. Now, pay attention because this is important. What I was trying to teach you is that you should trust your impulses. When a run has gone south and you need to improvise, don't overthink it. Once you've committed to doing something, you've got to follow it through, though. No arguing or hand-wringling. Just do it. If you get caught up in your own head agonizing over past mistakes, well, don't be surprised if you wind up dead. A kitchen fire can take you down as easily as a cop's bullet if you stand around and let it. Well, are you certain that siblings and the rest of the Macau team are dead? Yeah, they weren't with me when I got evacuated with the rest of the moviegoers. I never saw them leave the building, and I haven't heard from them since. I guess it's possible that somebody made it, but I don't really run in those circles anymore. Odds are good that if anyone from Macau team did survive, they'll have died off by now from sheer incompetence. Shadowrunning is an unforgiving business. You don't get to make too many mistakes. So did any of the stuff in that story actually happen, or did you just make it up from my benefit? Still, I'm hurt. Went all down exactly like I said it did. Well, except for a couple of embellishments here and there, but they made it a better story, artistic license and all that. Gobet leans back and stifles at the yawn. Madness and folly dart up to her left shoulder and lock their beady eyes on you again. Hate to break it to you, kiddo, but I'm bit. It's been a long day. Lesson's over for now. We'll pick it back up next time. Alright, Gobet. I'll catch you next time. Yeah, sounds good. I'll have your next lesson ready and waiting too. Let's carry along now. Your mentor needs a rest. Yeah, okay. Okay, Mr. I guess would be Senpai. Not Mr. Senpai, Senpai. Let's see, let's talk with, what's his name? I always forget his name. The guy downstairs. Or the guys downstairs, actually, because we have two guys downstairs. No, let's not go there. Let's go down there. Yeah, let's speak with them. That's, Ractor? Ractor, I think. Yeah, Ractor. Yeah, there we go. How are you doing, man? Has it been well? Oh, my friend. You have done an admirable job indeed. I've already incorporated the technology that you recovered, my stolen tech, into a new chassis that I am fabricating for Koshki. Whoa, you move quick, man. Yes, well, I've been waiting for a long time. The next time we take to the field, you can expect to find Koshki's combat effectiveness considerably improved. Well, he was already pretty good. He has become truly deathless, just as his namesake was in his legends. When he takes damage, he will mend himself before your eyes. Whoa, that sounds incredible. Can't wait to see it in action. Nor can I, my friend. Nor can I. Yeah, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. Let's speak with, I forget his name. The ghoul over here. Hello, how are you doing? Ooh, what's this? Box of mementos? I've seen that one. Gaichu, hello. Hello? The cabin is in a far better state than it was previously. The heat has been adjusted down and the ventilation restored. The boxes of junk and parts have been stacked and neatly arranged, and Geishu's small amount of personal gear is tucked away in a corner. There is a small mat in the center of the cabin that looks like it doubles as both a rug and a sleeping pad. Geishu is seated in the lotus position, eyes closed. His fingertips rest on a braille reader that is plugged into his PDA. The device fills the room with a soft clicking from the pin combinations, and as you approach, he lifts his hand from the reader's surface. "Hello again, Sil. Is there something I can assist you with?" "Yeah, looks like you've carved yourself a nice little spot here." "Yeah, if you say so. I doubt it would make us suitable for others, but I do not require much by the way of space, and have few possessions. So long as I have a quiet area in which I can sit and relax, I am happy. Now, what is it that you wish to discuss?" "So, any thoughts about that last run?" "I am not certain what insight I could grant you. I was not present." Oh, I forgot about that. Sorry. "So, what were you reading?" Geishu draws himself up, folding his palms in his lap. With one toe, he pushes the braille reader away. It's called the Agakure, Hidden Leaves, written by Yamamoto Tsunetomo as a treatise on what it means to be a samurai and how one should best serve one's lord. Required reading for the Red Samurai, and surprisingly... reliving old memories? Not so much old memories as old lessons. I have many scars to remember my mistakes by, and each one seems to evoke a passage from the book. The author has a central thesis: when there is a question of life or death, always choose death. Throw oneself into the fray with no resignations, and act on instinct alone. My current state of affairs speaks the truth of this more robustly than any lesson in a dojo. So what's the rest of the book about? It is partially a manual for proper behavior towards one's lord, partially a rumination on the mindset required to be victorious in combat, and partially a collection of stories. Tsunetomo believed that to truly embody the virtues of a samurai, adherents should be mindful of their path at all times, never stop training, always question how one's actions reflect on their lord. Above all, be prepared to do your duty instinctively at any time, no matter what the cost. Yeah, that's the samurai way for you. Yeah, instinct seems better suited to a ghoul than a man, honestly. Some might take offense at that assessment, but I am inclined to agree. I do not blend with the same efficacy as I once did, but I would not curse the tiger for relying on its instincts. Why should I not make use of mine? Yeah, that's, aren't you worried that you'll lose more of yourself? I have considered it, but I do not think it is likely. How can I lose a self that no longer exists? If I refuse to accept what I have become, I limit myself to remaining a damaged remnant of the man I was. But if I embrace my new nature, I grow and become more than a mere man. So, what does he say about masterless samurais like you, Ronin? 7 times down, 8 times up. More specifically, if a samurai has not been a Ronin at least 7 times, then he has not truly lived as a samurai. Really? Huh, that's an interesting way of looking at it. Then, those were different times, however. It was common for samurai to fall out of favor with their lord and be turned loose to wander. For company men like myself, the choice is serve or die. Is there anything else you would like to discuss? Well, I want to know more about what it's like to be a ghoul. Preparing for the eventuality of killing me and collecting the bounty? Make sure you leave my face intact. I would prefer to be a well-preserved trophy. Well, why? Don't worry. I'll have it. Oh, I need to go. Okay. Don't worry. I'll have it stuffed and mounted on my wall. Yeah, let's be a little bit jokey. Anyway, now that would be an illustrious end to my career. A severed head decorating a leaking wreck of a boat, home to extremely private individuals who will never show me off. Couldn't you sell it to a museum or something? If you wish to know about what it is like to be me, ask away. I see no reason to conceal the details of my condition. So what it's like to eat people? That's a terrible question. A terrible question to start with, my god. Geishu blinks a few times and cocks his head as if to stare at the ceiling. What is it to like anything, to eat anything else? No, wait. What is it to like to eat anything else? Or for a diabetic to take insulin? It is like that, a fact of life. I have found that most people are revolted by the concept of eating the flesh of humans rather than the act itself. Taken in isolation of social concerns, humans are no more or no less edible than most animals. The flesh can be of poor or high quality, depending on all the factors you would expect. Diet, lifestyle, etc. I prefer to prepare my meals as I would sashimi, light garnish and flavoring, but with an emphasis on the taste of the base meat. Do I enjoy it? No, not especially. Some Japanese are fond of pork and chicken sashimi, but I have never been one of them. But it is a fact I must accept, and if it is how things will be, well, I will make the best of it. Do you feel bad about having to eat people? No, but I was never a vegetarian, so why should I? It does not matter where the meat comes from. Someone who died in a car accident is as viable as someone I kill. I admit I have eaten people that I have killed, but that was of necessity. I was going to kill them anyway, why let their body go to waste? That's a very good point. So what's the deal with your teeth? What deal are you referring to? Do you file them down into those points? Oh, no, they are actually new teeth created by the infection. I suppose it is a natural advantage to have teeth better suited for carnivorous pursuits. Well, are you immortal? I have no idea. I do not believe there have been any organized studies of ghoul longevity. Most strains of the human meta-human vampiric virus impart a semblance of extended life, but I do not believe that the Krieger strain is one. Somehow, I think it is more likely that I will die in combat than of old age, no matter how long I live. Well, it might be interesting to ask a doctor. To what end? I live by the sword, and I will die by it. I have no illusions about my chances of growing old. Or would I live out my days in a rural country village, eating people who happen to expire on nearby roads? That will not be my fate. Yeah, I wouldn't like that if I were you. Anyway, most schools smell like rotting meat. Why don't you? Apparently it doesn't smell bad, okay. Diet and cleanliness? Most ghouls eat rotting flesh and do not bathe. I eat fresh meat and bathe regularly. Okay, that's very good of you. So, I like that, I appreciate that, thank you. So, we were talking about your father bailing you out of jail. Ah, yes, I do recall you asking that. So, you said that if I came back later, you'd tell me what happened? I have given you my word, and I intend to keep it. Do not be concerned, I simply have not spoken of my family in a long time. Bad memories? No, quite good ones, actually. I haven't seen Yasujiro in many years, but that is my fault. We may not have seen eye to eye when I was young, but we came to an understanding. Eventually. Yasujiro gave me an ultimatum after my run with Shiwasawa Security. He told me that he had cut a backroom deal with a rival Shiawase to keep me out of prison. Charges would be suspended if I finished high school and studied at Kyoko University with the intent of joining Renraku. If I did not, Shiawase would take me into custody and I would spend time in prison. Well, I'm surprised that he cut a deal at all. On some level, I am as well. Those sort of deals are made all the time between middle managers who compete across corporations, but they are always frowned upon. Usually, they are also illegal. I think I took him for granted before that day. I had always taken my family for granted. Raised in a Renraku family, going to Renraku schools, I always had a sense of a place, of belonging where I was, and the thought of all that vanishing, I simply could not imagine it. Suddenly, the reality of my actions became clear. From then on, I tried to be the son he wanted, and he seemed glad of it. We grew much closer over the next few years. He took time off to visit me when I was living in Kyoko, so why would that be unusual? He was a very busy man in those days, a lot of responsibility and very little time for himself. I was impressed that he could carve off as much time as he did just to go camping with his son. Oh, that's, well, a lot of nice wilderness in that part of Japan, I bet. Very much so. The land around Kyoko is protected from development due to historical and cultural significance. Most of the mountains are considered sacred, so the Diet declared them I don't know what that is. Declared them a national preserve. Oh, that's right. Oftentimes in anime and stuff like that, and movies as well, you see like big cities sitting right next to the mountains, and the mountains have these huge winding what's it called, highways up the mountains, and well, you probably know them from racing games and other stuff because they race through those highways. But that explains why the mountains haven't been populated, and why they're preserved. That's actually a very good move by the Japanese government. I think that's in effect this date in real life. Pretty cool. We made several trips to the area between Kyoko and Nara around the village of Ide. Around the village of Ide. We camped in the mountains above it. We'd hunt wild deer and boar there, using my family's antique arquebus. That's a strange choice of weapon. It is a choice of expediency. It is nearly impossible for a private citizen to own a firearm in Japan, which is why you may so often read of Yakuza attacks involving swords and cleavers. As the Tanegashima that my family owns is from the 18th century, it is exempt from ordinary regulations. Perhaps ironically, hunting with my father is how I learned to prepare my raw meat. Strange to think that inadvertently prepared me for my current state of affairs. Huh. Yeah, I don't really want to hear about that. I will not bore you with the details if you are uninterested in how it's done. Those were good days, though. I'm sorry I cannot go back to those times. When one joins the Red Samurai, one must give up all attachments to one's previous life. The company, the code, and the unit become the entire world. Yeah, even your family ties have to be cut? Especially those. Anything that could distract you from a mission must be purged. Commitment to the unit and the company must be total. Applicants must be human, Japanese, and utterly devoted to Renraku. Your unit becomes your family, your commander is your father and mother, your teammates, your siblings. Red Samurai are not allowed to reveal our identities and position to anyone outside the Special Operations Group. Even if we wanted friends outside the unit, we could not have them. So how do you end up joining the Renraku military? Ah, fair question, given my youthful indiscretion. Are you familiar with Kempeitai? No, what's that? The Kempeitai are the political arm of the Japanese military. Much like the commissaires of the Soviet Union, they are responsible for enforcing political and social orthodoxy. This is not just within the army, mind you, they also enforce certain laws with regards to the general populace. When I was enrolled at Kyoto University, I studied global security and political science. It is the major generally used as the gateway to private security postings with both government and corporate militaries. I knew I wanted to fight. I was a young man and my blood was always up. One of the requirements was that students join the Youth Brigade Kempeitai. The Youth Brigade is a bit like the ROTC in North America, the Young Falcons in Sioux Nation, or the District Officer program in the Republic of Korea. Members learn to be soldiers without actually joining an army. They perform community service and promote civic pride. Performance and prestige in the Kempeitai used to dictate later jobs opportunities, by a bit like a good internship. Did you enjoy it? Not at first. Later, it became pleasant. Power is a heady thing, especially for a youth who has few superiors to answer to. We developed a sense of superiority over others and began to abuse our power. I believe that may have been part of the point. Surely they wanted you to use your powers responsibly. Quite the opposite. They wanted to engender those feelings of superiority and to encourage the Youth Brigade to see themselves as above the common citizens. The state is above the individual, and as instruments of the state, we were taught that we were as well. We did as we were taught, such is the way of authority on the young. Yeah, it's kind of terrible. Do you regret getting involved with the Youth Brigade? No, why? It was a necessary step in my plans for my future, even if some of the behaviors that were involved in were distasteful. The state of the nation was such that those kinds of behaviors were legal and condoned. I think I read about some Germans who tried to use that defense once. Yeah, I believe I have read that story as well, but I think you misapplied the lesson. In Nuremberg, those on trial had perpetrated crimes against other nations. The Youth Brigade act only internally to Japan. That doesn't make the crimes any less bad. When I was nearing graduation, I was approached by a recruiter with Renraku Security. She told me I came from a good family and could have a promising career in the company. She offered a fast track in my application toward potential Red Samurai position. 3 years with Renraku Military as a junior office and guaranteed placement in the Red Samurai training belay of my choosing. The pay was good and the excitement of being an elite was an attractive proposition. I accepted, but I did not truly understand what I was signing up for. As I told you before, they force you to give up everything except the company and unit. That was made clear to me, but then I did not truly understand it. So did you regret your decision? On the whole? No. I did not know who I would have been had I not joined. Perhaps there are things that I miss, but regret is perpetual. One is always tempted to ask what if, but that is a trap. This is who I became. The armor was my protection and my identity. The training was extremely difficult, both mentally and physically. I knew that I would be isolated from my old life, but I did not anticipate the full extent of that isolation. All Red Samurai recruits report to a facility called the Forge in Shiba. You are assigned a unit and 4 other recruits, and for the next 2 years the Forge will be your home and prison. It seems ridiculous in retrospect. We were also young. None of us had any idea what we were doing, except trying to become the best soldiers in the world, and yet those strangers became my new family, in the absence of the old. Huh. Well, the episode is getting a little bit later. I'm gonna cut it right here. Yeah, 41 minutes. This has to be my longest episode. Well, I hope you've enjoyed it. I really hope you've enjoyed it, because this has been a little bit of a pace changer, and well, next episode, I promise you that we're gonna go on a new mission. But for now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Shadowrun Hong Kong. I really hope you've enjoyed it, as I said, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video, but above everything else, thank you so much for watching, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, and thank you for sticking with me through this fantastic RPG. I am really enjoying my time with it, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye!